everybody. It's Tuesday night. I'm Vera Jones, your host of Certified Unscripted. We do this every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Bring you the best in basketball, the best opinion. Well, I don't know about the best opinions, but they're raw and they're real. We talk real women's hoops. We talk sports. We talk about Ruthie singing. We do whatever we want because it is unscripted, certified unscripted. And every week we welcome you back to join us. Your questions matter to us. For all the people that are watching on Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live, thank you so much for just supporting us and continuing to show up time and time again. We really appreciate all your comments. Remember, you can go to certifiedunscripted.com. That is the website. So if you miss any of these fabulous episodes, that's where you can head over to and check it out. And again, of course, they're always hosted on YouTube as well as Facebook. So without further ado, we welcome the GM, Penny Toler. Always good to have you back. It's kind of crazy. It's over. I am emotional. It's all over. What are we talking about? There's no WNBA hoops.
It's never over. We can always talk WNBA hoops. You know, we got the 26th season coming up. We got an awesome guest today. So, hey, I'm always excited, especially for some of the guests we don't have. We've been honored with some super, super great people and incredible players. And, you know, we got one coming on today that I've always admired and thought a lot of. So I can't wait for let's just get it started.
All right, Mighty Ruthie, what you thinking about today? I saw you shoveling asphalt in hot Mississippi. What's going on with you?
I'm back in the SIP, man. They got me working over here. I gotta earn my keys. If I'm gonna eat a big old plate of red beans and rice and collard greens, I gotta do something to earn that. So they got me digging asphalt and like hands on. So hey, that's what I do. That's why I got them in the holster today. But that's what I locked them down today. Y'all ain't mad, are you?
That's why that's why you Mighty Ruthie. And I'd be like, shovel what?
I know some asphalt. I'm like,
All right, without further ado,
you gotta do what you gotta do to get a good deal.
Hey, that's how you go. That's how you go. Well, tonight's guest is super special to my heart. As Penny has said, we've had some awesome guests, but this one in particular just makes me want to sip some tea. It's just how it is. Please welcome and pay attention to this very special clip. Oops, I guess I can't hit the clip. Hold on. Here we go.
Would you like to have some tea with me?
Will you pour my tea?
I will, yes. Would I? I'd be honored.
The honor is mine to receive a tea time assist from one of the greatest women's basketball players ever.
Overall, tea is just good for you. So that's one of the things growing up that we always had is tea in our house.
Former Fever star Tamika is a longtime customer, but now the new owner of Tease Me Cafe near 22nd in Delaware.
And this is your place?
No, even thinking about that, so I just recently purchased this from the owner.
After a decade in business, Wayne Ashford is moving south and was ready to close the tea shop.
I have a customer, Tamika, who's come in. And she's had a relationship with TV in her life too as well as a child. So I've been able to take my dream and attach it now to her dream.
Casual conversations led to Tamika buying Tease Me in February.
Very flattered and I'm very excited about the relationship. I'm excited about this brainchild of mine moving forward with her touch and brain and taste.
Tamika's taste preference is to have no basketball flavor around Tease Me.
Look at the people that are here. This is the vibe literally every single day. And it really became kind of like my home away from home.
Tamika enjoys the fresh fruit of her life off the court. I'm Rich Knight, 13 Eyewitness Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tamika Catchings. Woo! Tea is me. Gosh, you're doing it all. Welcome to the show. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, definitely.
I got my cup of tea too.
Yeah,
I used to collect mugs. So today we're in Greece from the Olympics.
All right. Oh, we got to talk about that as well. I just got regular Lipton tea. What should I be sipping? What is the hot tea of the month?
Well, you should definitely be ordering some tea from Tease Me Cafe Indie. .com and
got it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if nothing else, maybe I could talk to somebody who knows a little bit about tea, and we can send you a little package.
All right, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we got some more tea sippers. Welcome to the show. Penny and Ruthie are here, and we're just going to start bombarding you. We've got some questions coming in from our viewers as well. But what's on your mind, Penny?
Hey, I'm just happy to have Tamika here. Tamika knows how I feel about her, so I'm super, super pumped. You know, I remember back when you were a player, Meek, and you were like, "Hey, I want to be a GM," and then it was interesting because we had a conversation when you said, "Oh no, maybe I changed my mind." And look, here's the funny thing: she changed her mind from being a GM. Then she went and became president and GM. Okay, so it's all great. So I just want to hear about her experience because I'm sure, just like my own, it's totally different, you know, from when we were a player. You know, was it everything you thought it was?
I'm a sore loser. So I think all of us on here are, but you know, it has been interesting. You know, I think the biggest thing right now is just really focusing in on how different players are now compared to before. And, you know, just even like, I know watching Ruthie when I was a younger player and her work ethic and just the way that she grinded every single day. You know, Vera, I remember Vera was with us my first couple of years. And we would do street ball. I mean, like we literally, I was in the injured reserve team, and sometimes they would let me play with them. But like we just, you know, it was one of those things. We love the game, and not to say that players don't love the game nowadays. It's just totally different. And so my experience has been great. I think I'm learning. You know, I'm learning a lot every single year, and you know, even the last couple of years that I've been in my GM role, have the wobble happened last year, and then this year. Not so good as far as productivity on the court, but I think we learned a lot off the court.
Yeah. Ruthie, quite a comment coming from the Defensive Player of the Year, an all-star, saying that your work ethic motivated her. Thoughts?
Wow, you know what? And you talking about one of the reasons players are different because there's not a Tamika Catchings out there anywhere. I don't care where you look, there's not another Tamika Catchings, and you're a player that embodies what it means, that complete circle. Like seriously, is that your competitiveness, that you could not look at you and tell what the score of the game was. Whether you was winning by 20 or down by 20, you played like Tamika Catchings. You embodied what it means to be a professional athlete, the elite level, but still played with passion, competitiveness, and was still just a great teammate. So, you know, to me, my hats off to you, and just for what you continue to do. And now you are just, your why has bleeding over to being the GM, and just who you are. Just to me, you make people around you better. So to me, you will always be an MVP in my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I want to add another thing to that too, because I'm sure it's I'm kind of smiling and laughing at the same time, because it's like saying, how do you find another Tamika Catchings? If there isn't one, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I look back and I was just sitting here thinking about all the champions, right? And trust me, I'm not trying to offend any players when I say what I'm about to say, but you put Indiana on your back when they won a championship. I mean, you went up against a stacked Minnesota team that was like the best at every position, arguably the best at every position. And I know because the Sparks used to have to try to beat them cats too, you know what I'm saying? And you if you look at all the championships, even the one that just won, and like I said, I'm not trying to fit no players. I think all players are great, but you had the less stars when you did it. You know, sort of like Giannis now, where, you know, you weren't playing with 3-4 superstars. You were playing with good players, but, you know, Minnesota was stacked. Sparks was stacked. And you came in, and I mean, single-handedly, your effort, which shows people out there that if you come and bring your A game and play hard, you can accomplish anything. Because if you look at her team and look at these teams that have won, she had the most, you know what I'm saying, stars in these positions. Yeah. I mean, and I was like, that speaks volumes, you know, and being in the sport, I mean, you're amazing. Literally, I always think you were amazing.
It's crazy because I think back to that point, and one of the things that I remember being in Minneapolis, we went there early. We went straight from Connecticut. So instead of coming back to Indy, we went up to Connecticut, instead of coming back to Indy, we left Connecticut, went straight to Minnie. And I remember like we pulled the team together, and our conversation was just that. It's like, look, nobody thinks we can win. And the only thing that matters is the people that are in this room and that are in this circle. And so at the end of the day, the only thing that we have to do every day and every game we play, like they didn't even think we won one game. I'm like, y'all don't think we're going to win one game? Like, that's just disrespectful anyway. But, and it really was. Like, nobody expected us to win. And I told our team, I said, look, at the end of the day, we just need to go out and play hard and let whatever happens, happen. The pressure is not on us. Like, we don't have any pressure because the expectations are low for our team. And when we came out, we won that first game. Everybody was like, oh, it's a fluke. There's no way that Indiana wins another game, game 2. So think about it. We lost Katie Douglas in our last game at Connecticut, get there to Minnie. We lose Jeanette Poling game 2, which is our second best shooter. And everybody was like, they won't win. They won't win another game. We get back to Indy. And I mean, it's crazy. Like, I just remember talking to one of the young men that works in our office today. And we have on the wall, like the big from the championship, from the stage, the trophy in our last picture. And he was like, where are you? And I showed him. And he was like, man, like, what was it like? And he's like, what do you remember about the game? I'm like, honestly, I remember the buzzer going off. I think somebody had thrown the ball at the rim, like I caught it, the buzzer went off, and I just threw it up. And I was like, and then like we just went crazy. And I was there last Sunday when Chicago won, and I'm like, I want that back in Indy. We got to bring it back.
All right.
Yeah. Speaking of Chicago,
I was looking at, not to interrupt you, sorry, Vera, but I was looking at, like, because when I look at your team, and it's such a young team, and like you say, and with different players, the first thing, I don't know if you ever do it, and I know you wouldn't do it because it's not like you're being conceited or anything, but I always say you should show them your tape. I mean, how hard that team played. You know what I'm saying? With that young team.
I'm writing notes.
Well, no, I'm talking about that effort, and if you bring that effort, because that's the only way you win. Because I agree with you. People thought when Minnesota beat the Sparks that they were just going to walk through there. Then here comes Superwoman, Yeah. I was wondering, do you ever show your team how hard that you and your team played when you guys won the championship?
No, but I'm writing notes. I will. I take notes on everything. I always have my notebook. I always have a pen because you never know what advice. And shoot, Penny, I mean, you've been to the top. I'm trying to get there. I want to be there too.
And I truly believe you will. That's why I say you got a young team. We all know that. And this is what I like about you, Meek. Even in bad times, you're still the same person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes in bad times, people don't answer the phone, won't pick up the phone, won't do anything. But if anybody can dig Indy out of that situation they in, it's you. Because one thing I say is, and you always have a great attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take when you're dealing with young people. But I also know with young people too, you know how young people always say, you'll say something, they be like, she's saying that, but you didn't do that. And I'm saying you have the perfect footage of your own that you can show these players of this is how you get it done.
I got a quote up here. Love me some TC, greatest player. I have to be honest. I am often asked my greatest player, not to soup you up because you finally on our show, but that's always mine. But I've got other reasons, and I've shared it before, not just what you did on the court, but what you did for me and my son off the court. So speaking of basketball and how it all came together for you, this is a great question. Harvey Catchings, now way back, we going old school NBA, right? Your daddy played in the NBA. Is that how you got started? Talk a little bit about how Tamika Catchings even came, and then your sister, of course, played as well. But talk a little bit about how it all started for you.
Yeah, and my brother.
Yeah, that's right.
The three of us, literally, I'm the baby of three from my mom and dad. And I just remember watching my dad going to his games. And it's funny because I was talking to one of the gentlemen, again, in the office today. And I was like, gosh, you remember when you used to watch the NBA and you knew every single player on every single team? You knew everybody. And not to say that it's not like that, but it's not like that anymore. You got kids that are going to college for 1 year and then going to the pros, and it's like what happened to? But anyway, my journey started from watching my dad and really just going to practice with him and going to games. Basketball was not my first organized sport, sports. Actually, soccer was, and then softball, and then I started playing basketball. But I think for me, I didn't start taking basketball serious as far as like this is what I want to do until 7th grade. But my journey started my dad. My dad was my first coach in 3rd grade when I started playing organized. My sister and I were on an all boys team, wrecking shop, and yeah, the love it just never gone away.
Wow. I mean, and it speaks volumes. It's no wonder you started playing soccer because you run. Yeah, that obviously stuck with you.
Not anymore.
You on both ends of the court. I mean, period. You play like a soccer player, really, when you think about it. One of the things that people always want to know is even before, the WNBA started. Let's go back to you had a great coach. You probably had a ton of great coaches. But here, Danelle says Pat Summitt is the GOAT. What was it like playing for her?
Man, and that stare right there. Oh my gosh. Like the first time I ever saw Pat, on TV, first off, I was in 8th grade. And that was the first time I saw women playing basketball on national TV. And that was the first time I saw University of Tennessee. And I literally fell in love. And having the opportunity, fast forward, having the opportunity, and I have like a lot of fast forward, like a lot of aha moments, because even like with sitting here next to Ruthie, like Ruthie was a part of my aha moment, 96 Olympic team, Junior Olympics, just being able to be in the gym and watch the Olympic team. I was like, I want to play with these players. I want to be like them. So like now I'm sitting right next to, kind of, sort of, right next to but yeah, I mean, Pat was amazing. Choosing to go to University of Tennessee, you already knew that she was going to get the best out of you. And no matter what it took, not necessarily like one of those coaches that's going to break you down all the way to the bottom, but definitely one that was willing to do, like, find whatever it was that was going to motivate you. And she knew how to do that. But, the thing I always say about Pat is she wanted us to be the best on the court. She wanted us to be the best in the classroom. And she wanted us to be the best in the community. But overall, she wanted us to be great people. And that's the thing that I've continued. Every time I think about Pat, like I just think about, I want to be the best. I want to be great in whatever area I'm in, but I ultimately want to be a great person.
Yeah. Well, that part you got down pat. Coming out of high school, did you win high school titles? And what other schools did you consider before you even went to Tennessee? Or was it just, no, I want the stare?
I just want to stare down. No, so we won basketball sophomore year in Chicago. My sister and I were on the same team. Then my mom and I moved down to Texas. So we won volleyball state champ my junior year in Texas. And then we won basketball state champ my senior year in Texas. And then went to Tennessee and we won freshman year. As far as like other schools, I went to Arkansas. I went to University of Arkansas. I went to Southern Cal because Titi was there, Tina Thompson. Penny, were you there then?
I was at Long Beach beating Southern Cal. I was there beating Southern Cal.
That part right there.
That right there, yeah. So I went to Arkansas, Southern Cal, Tennessee, and then I went to Illinois because that's where Taja went to school.
Right. I spent a lot of time. I actually ended up broadcasting a lot more with Taja. I saw her a lot more in my travels just because of the Illinois Big Ten connection. But yeah, awesome. Okay, so I don't know.
Big question because I know
go ahead. Because I'm firing away. I got another really good one coming up. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you take the question because they don't always get to
This is a good one because this ties into
I want them to get their questions in.
Okay, because I told you, everybody always wants to know who's your top 5, who's your Mount Rushmore of players. And so we're going to get that from you. But I wanted to share right now, and this is the only time I'm probably going to get emotional doing Certified Unscripted. When I was your broadcaster in Indiana, and like you said, it was either your first or second year, I don't even remember, back with crazy Niele Ivy. I never forget Niele, kept us in tears.
And Jaden, good grace.
Oh my gosh. And little Drew, my son, at the time, he was like 3. And, I'd bring him to practice and everything. And actually, he might have been we had just found out he was hearing impaired. And he had his little hearing aids in or whatever. And you sweeped him up. I'll never forget because I had like a mama moment. I was like, Tito, I need a tissue. But you sweep him into your arms. And he was like, come here, little Drew. and you just started talking to him and you just started telling him, I want you to wear your hearing aids. And you started telling him about your own story that you told him, don't take it off. Well, you promised me you won't take them off. And he was like, oh, no, I won't take them off. It was just amazing how you interacted with them and you helped them understand. And you don't let anybody make you feel bad that you wear these. And it was so important because he had just started wearing them. And he was, even though he was little, he didn't want to because none of the other kids had hearing aids. Can you talk about just, your question here is about having a sixth sense, your hearing impairment, how you've gotten along, and how you now inspire other kids and people in general with the amazing things you've accomplished as a person with disabilities?
Yeah, it's interesting because we talk about it being a disability. And when I was younger, I definitely was one that was ashamed of my hearing aid. Mm-hmm. It took me some time, and even as I've grown as an adult, just even the certain things, like even commentating, that you become a little self-conscious about, like, oh, can they hear me? Will I be able to hear? Can I speak right? Will I stutter? Like, will my words get from my brain to my mouth quick enough? A lot of different things, and you just learn. But now I consider it my superpower. And one of the main reasons that I think about it as a superpower is because of the game of basketball and what it allowed me to do. And, being able to have that sixth sense as far as, hey, like you kind of see things happen before they happen. And a lot of times people will say, like, when you lose one of your senses, another sense gets heightened. And I think my awareness of where I was on the court and just different things that were going on, being able, like, especially 4 years at University of Tennessee and then becoming a professional basketball player, your awareness of where the ball is going to be and, being able to get still, being able to be in the right place at the right time. I think on the court, it really helped, just the fact of when you think about basketball, when you think about any sport, every sport is like we all use sign language to some extent. When you see a play call, whether you're watching baseball, basketball, football, like you look over to the coach on the sideline and everybody has different signals, different hand signals that they use. So and obviously a benefit for me in being able to play the game that I love and being able to have a great point guard, being able to read lips, a lot of different things. So I look at it as a superpower now, and definitely the sixth sense of being able to, kind of adapt to certain situations that are going on. I think really because of my awareness for one, like on the court, but even off the court, just being able to be aware of everything that's going on in the room.
Yeah.
There's
that. Dang, not little Drew no more. Hey, awesome. It's been so, like, I haven't seen him so long.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
Long time.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
Whoa.
Wow. So 20 years later.
That's what I'm about to say, 20 years.
Yeah. So anything real quick you want to throw in? I told the story about how she always would pick you up when we were at practice at Indiana. And just how she impacted your life. Anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always inspiring, people just being an advocate with disabilities and everything like that. Because I actually wear hearing aids too. I took mine off. I'm actually in the middle of work. I wanted to say hello on my break, but good to see you again. And I just wanted to pop my head in.
All right, that's a big head. All right,
good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
that's awesome. I want to say something real quick. You know what? Obviously, we've already bragged about how awesome you were on the court, but even I didn't even really know this. Obviously, this is the story. This is what I feel like make the heart of a champion. You look at your championships and what you've done on the court in Tennessee, but to me, at the end of the day, when you impact lives in that way, to me, that what makes you heart of a champion. A heart of a champion when because you could have that disability could have. If we call it that, could have hindered you, but you allowed it to make you. It became a superpower for you. So it is, to me, it's a beautiful thing. So thanks for sharing that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Penny. I know I had to get that in.
Oh, no. You can do all that. I have a million questions, so I just start with the easiest one. What do you? How do you? I guess. How would I put this? What has been the hardest part about your job so far?
managing people.
Call me.
Managing people. You know, I think the basketball part, obviously, you want to. We're here, like this is our job, it's our profession, and you know, sometimes I would say sometimes as a player, like I never thought about anything else but basketball, you know, to an extent. Like my faith is a big part, my family is a big part of who I am, you know, but then basketball, like I wanted to be great at it. And so being in the gym it just like Ruthie. I mean, being in the gym was how you got better. This is what you did in order to be able to operate and play at your best. When I say managing people, it's just more like managing expectation for myself. You know, like you come in and you tell me you want to be great. Great. Let's sit down. Let's figure out how you're going to be great, because I'm the same way. I want to be great, and these are the steps I took to be great. You don't have to follow the same exact step, but if you want to get to this level, these are some steps you need to take. I struggle with people saying one thing and not following through.
Yeah.
So managing people, and then also like for me, managing my frustration and my expectations based on what you told me you want.
Yeah. Wow. Sound familiar, Penny?
Oh yeah, because I'm like her. I'm a sore loser, and you know, it's just a different era where we understood that, you know, hard work equals success. You know, not TikTok, not social media, you know, or like what she's saying, if you want to be the best, there's no shortcut to being the best. And that's why I asked her that question. You know, what was the hardest thing about her job? Because, you know, it's different when you're a player, you can control it, versus when you a GM, you have to sit back and hope that people can get on the same page that you want to get on, which, you know, brings me to my next question. And I'm sure you
wait, can I ask you, what was the hardest thing for you?
The hardest thing for me was, to be honest with you, the hardest thing for me, because my eyes was always focused on the WNBA. Like I went from the WNBA to becoming the GM. The hardest thing for me when I became the GM was watching film. And I say watching film because, you know, in my era, which Ruthie will tell you, and I'm sure your own, you know, you could give us a scouting report, but we can kind of write a scouting report ourselves. So I would spot out a lot of bad things and bad behaviors, like in people's where, you know, it was hard for me to watch it because even though college sports had came a long way, the WNBA is just so good and so fast that it was hard for me to watch teams that didn't play up-tempo. And far as for players, I think it might have been hard. Tamika Dixon and I had this conversation the other day. I think it was hard for them when I became the GM because I played with them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You made at the beginning of the show, you made a comment about Indiana when you won the championship. No one expected you to win a game. You were the underdog. Did you see a parallel in terms of what Candice Parker, another Tennessee girl, did with Chicago? How did you feel about her getting her second title, et cetera, et cetera?
Parallel, no. I mean, you're playing with some great players. Not that you know, but like you think about Courtney Vandersloot, you think about Allie Quigley, you know, Azra Stevens, the way she played, and no offense, like she had a lot of talent even before this year. But I think the difference that Candice made on this team is her leadership. Yeah. And I know, Penny, I mean, you've been there from the beginning. I've played with her with the USA team, and, you know, we've always been around her. But I think that she had grown as a leader. And when she finally figured out, like, I can't do this by myself and I don't have to.
Exactly.
She won the first one. She won the first one. So this second one comes with, okay, like, I'm open. We got great players. Kalia Copper, the way she stepped up and played, unbelievable. You know, you got players coming off the bench. And, I mean, from every single position, you like, it's not about your starting five. Yeah. It's about the bench players that come in, because your starters can't play 40 minutes a game every single game. It's the bench that you created. And I think, like, Stephanie Dolson set the screen. Great. That shot that she knocked down, the screen, the roll, just being another big body on the floor. I mean, I just think that what Chicago was able to do, they wore Phoenix down Phoenix was like one player away. I mean, they kept getting injury after injury after injury, right? But they're like one player away, but it doesn't matter. Like, would have, could have, should have. And whatever happens, happens. Like this, we come into the season every year knowing that there's only going to be one team that walks away with that championship. And, you know, I'm super excited for Candice. We were there. I told my mom Saturday night, I'm like, you know what? We're going to drive up to Chicago tomorrow. You good? She's like, oh, yeah, I'm in. You should have seen my mom. She was trying to get down to the court. I'm like, Mom, I can't go down there. What do I look like? I'm the GM for the Indiana team, not Chicago. Be on the court celebrating with Candice. I was like, she knows we're here. That's all that matters. So it's great to celebrate with her.
What do you have to do? What do you think you have to do to get Indiana back there, back to the playoffs?
I think that this year has been a lot about self-evaluation. And for me personally, really making sure that, I think that one of the things you probably got better at throughout your career as a GM is being able to pull the trigger on something sooner.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to take that advice from me. And I do definitely want to give you this because I want to see you be successful. You know me? And that's it right there. And I always say, and Jerry West told me this. I was fortunate to have Jerry West and them in the seat. Trust your instincts because you got good instincts. And I know my first year as a GM, I let a player go and I tried to replace that player, but that's a mistake. That was one of the mistakes I made early on. Where it's not even about replacing that player. You know what it takes to get there, and you got to be. I'm gonna tell you something. It's like they say, in order to win, you got to take chances. And sometimes those chances, and I can only imagine your challenge because you've always been a player that's been the darling of the league, and I'm sure you can't even get into what the fans would think.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, because when you start trying to think what they think, you're going to go wrong. I'm going to tell you that straight up, and I'll say that in front of fans. You always, when you don't know what to do, your gut and your instincts tell you what to do because you know what to do. And sometimes as leaders and you sit in that seat, it may not be what the majority of the people think you should do, but you know your team. And I always say, if you're going to get something wrong with you driving, not the backseat driver. Not the side seat driver, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's interesting because I remember as a player watching Kelly Koskoff was our GM, and watching her make moves, and I'm like, gosh, sometimes it's just so careless. How could you do that? As a player, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love playing with this player. Why would you get rid of him? Now I'm finding myself in those situations. And one of the things that I'm having to learn about myself, I'm a very relationship driven person. And sometimes in this job, it's not necessarily you almost have to find, I have had to put boundaries up because I find myself, I'm a player, player first and then a GM, right? But it's no, you're not even, you can't even look at yourself as a player anymore. You can think about your mindset. When I was a player, I thought like this, but you got to set those boundaries. And that's been really, really, that's something that I've learned this year is I have to do a better job of setting those boundaries. The relationships are great, but also realizing hey, because I have to trade you or because I have to cut you or because I have to move you, doesn't mean I don't love you. It's just a matter of this is what's best for the organization and this is what's best for the team right now.
Yeah. Another question coming at you. I mean, there's so many things to cover with you, right? I mean, I want to go back and talk about Tennessee some more. The Meeks. There was a question on here about Shamiko Holesclaw. But we also got to get in the fact that you're an Olympian. We can't skip over that part. That would be, definitely a misnomer. So in 2004, you made the USA basketball team playing with legends. Any games that stick out? Any players that stick out? Talk about Dawn Staley, who's in the news all the time, doing great things. Give us some overall thoughts of that.
Well, I go back to 96. And the 96 Olympic team was the first time that I made a decision and made a goal. I want to be an Olympian. And making the junior Olympic team that year, like I said, we got to go to one of the senior team practice. And I remember sitting there courtside at their practice, the door get thrown open. Ruthie's the first one in the line. Literally, Ruthie is the first one, and the team comes behind, and she comes in singing that Mighty Ruthie, and I was just like, all of us were sitting in there like, we were so excited, and it's so funny to think because fast forward to 2002. That's the first time I made the senior team, the world championship team, and then of course the 2004 team. And honestly, winning the gold and being able to play for Van Chancellor, like he taught me a lot just about myself and what I could take and what I could handle as a player, but also my role and really learning roles. We don't talk enough about different roles that you need to play, and Ruthie can speak to this, but not everybody is on the team to be a scorer. Not everybody's on the team to play 40 minutes. Not everybody's on the team to even get in the game. But you might have a role in practice and making sure that the starters are ready to play. You might have, you got to do your own work and making sure that you stay prepared, and whatever you can do as an individual, you end up helping the team. And I mean, that's where Dawn came in for me. Really, I struggled in 2004 just because Van yelled at me instead of yelling at Cheryl and Lisa when they did something wrong. And I'm like, but I didn't get beat. That was Cheryl. I was like, yeah, but you should have. I'm like, okay. Whatever you say. So I learned a lot about, just how to handle criticism. Not that I didn't know, obviously being from Tennessee and working with Pat, but just a lot about myself, but Dawn's leadership. And she would come over and put her arm around me, and we would have our talk. But I loved just the way she commanded, like she took over and commanded our team and got people in the right spot. Thinking about the gold medal game, she was the one that made sure, like, she knew who needed to have touches at what point. Lisa hadn't touched the ball in a while, and to run a play for Lisa, or Dawn or Cheryl needs to get a shot. Like, what play can we run for? Like, she just knew certain things. Yeah. And she didn't always have to talk, but when she talked, you listen. And I think that was the thing that I learned that I brought back to Indiana, because I didn't like to talk at all. And I would just follow me, like I lead by example. But I learned that it's not always about leading by example. Sometimes you have to use your voice along with leading by example, so that your teammates would follow up or follow whatever I said and whatever I did.
Oh, that's good stuff. That is so good. So now we got to go because we're unscripted. There's no order, but give us how bad was it between Geno and Pat? How bad was it?
It's interesting. I think Pat was more of, we're not the ones that get on the court and play. So they try to frame the two coaches with their head going against each other, like you'd always see like the nose to nose photos. And, I think the thing that Pat would always say is I'm not the one getting on the court. It's the players that are getting on the court. Yeah. And so she was really conscious of making sure, every single day of practice, we really at some point in time during the practice, we're practicing for the UConn game, even though it wasn't until January and we were starting practice in October. But, you grew to love the game. And I think as fans, even now, like with the UConn-Tennessee series back, as fans, you grew to love, like you got up for those games. And I think the media did a great job of building that tension.
Mm-hmm. Did Cheryl Swoops haze you or make you get her a Coke? We had Swoops on the show. Did that happen like it did for Shamika?
No, it didn't. Cheryl was mean to me. I told her this. I was like, the first time I'm telling y'all, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna get to play with Cheryl and Lisa, and Cheryl was so mean to me.
Why too, probably.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you coming with that game.
That's right. You ain't taking my spot.
You know how vets will probably be like, oh, wait a minute, let me make sure she stay in her place,
And that's it too. She did say, she said, y'all came in with all this hype, without having to do any of the work. Like, you came in your class, like y'all just thought you guys were gonna come in and just take over. She said, no, y'all ain't gonna take over. But then one thing she did say, she said, you know what though, after watching you and watching the way that you work, I couldn't help but to start being nice, because then I realized, I need you on the court. You had to cover your butt when you get beat.
Yeah. if you could put together a super team starting 5, who would be your 4 teammates? And it can be from any era.
Ooh, from any era. I'm gonna go with Dawn as my point guard.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go with Dawn. I'm gonna, you know what? This is a new one, but I think I'm gonna put Cheryl Miller in there.
There you go.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Cheryl Miller. I'm gonna put her as my 2.
At your 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put her at my 2. Yeah, we going big. We're going big.
Okay, going big. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put her at the 2.
Cheryl at the 2.
I'm gonna put me at the 3.
Okay, of course.
Maybe we'll see. Interchangeable. I'm gonna put Lisa at the 5 because I don't know, even in this era, if BG and or Sil or any other big girl can hang with Lisa.
Okay.
With them elbow.
I always said this squad would have won more championships with Lisa in her 40s.
Oh my gosh. Can she come back?
Because of her work ethic.
I know.
Yeah. And I got one more position. I'm going to put, I don't know if I want Candice or if I want TT.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Okay. All right.
So I need 6 players because one of us needs to sub out. So
yeah, somebody needs to sub, right? You got some old players on there, so you're gonna need to sub. Right? Who's the hardest player for you to defend in the WNBA?
Hardest player for me to defend, Angel.
McCautry?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you never knew and know what she's gonna do, and like you can scout her and. She goes.
She's very instinctive.
Unscripted. She's very unscripted. So you think you got her like locked up, and then all of a sudden. But I would say her professionally, and then for me in college, I would say Shamika. Like I had to guard her in practice sometime, and I was like, oh yeah, like I got her locked up, and then Meek would just be like, dum dum, turn around. I'm like, shit, and then just like saunter down the court. I'm like, dang. So yeah, I would say Shamika would be college and Angel for pro.
Okay, all right.
Who is your hardest, Ruthie?
Actually, my hardest was Cooper.
Ooh,
Cooper was harder in the pro for us in the States, WNBA. But actually, when I played overseas, I played against Penny. And doggone, they say, get a Penny. I think Penny was averaging about 40 over there. And I was like, Lord, I got that little dribble she does. I had to say, I'm trying to put my head in her stomach, just like, I know she's going to do it. Then she get in her shoe pocket so fast. I think I about fouled out every game I played against her. But I would say definitely Cynthia in the WNBA. When I played against Cheryl, I sort of finally adjusted to the way I defended Cheryl. But I would say Cooper was hard because she was so explosive. And she just, she was just, to me, she was a shooting guard, but she's also a playmaker too.
Mm-hmm. We had we talked, obviously, WNBA, obviously this is our first week that there's no WNBA, and there's no active games, right? But we're always talking about, the GOAT. So I'm going to throw 2 questions at you that came from our viewers. Who is harder to defend, Maya or Diana? And then the second one is, how did you feel about the top 25? I guess you followed that. And, how'd you feel about that list? That has also been a hot topic. But first, Maya or Diana?
I think it's hard to say which one. I mean, they're both so good in their own right, Maya, I would put in the same kind of somewhat category as Angel. She's just so good at being able to score so many different ways. Diana, her release is so quick. And she's great at just being able to get to her spot. You watch her even through this playoff run, she's physical. And that's something that has allowed her over the course of the last couple of years, especially to be able to get that space and get her shot off. So I know I'm not answering the question because I think they're both so different in their own ways that it's hard to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
And then and then when you get to the top 25, I think that it's hard to do a top 25. And I think Dee said this in one of her interviews. you can't pick 25 players that have just 25 players that have impacted this league and that have allowed for us to be 25 years strong. You can't just pick 25 players. And matter of fact, you can't even just pick the players that have played in the WNBA. You got to pick the players that came before the WNBA started that allowed us the opportunity to even get the WNBA going. And so, like, I think it's great to be on the list, and it's great to celebrate, and like we all get excited about being, like I'm honored. Don't get it twisted. Like I'm honored to be on the list, but I think a player, like Ruthie, Dawn's not on the list, and all the things that she's done for the women's game and continues to do on or off that list. So it's great. Lists are great. NBA celebrating top 75 players, which is like crazy that we continue to compare the NBA to the WNBA with a 50-year gap on everything that's going on. But, I think that there should be more players that are on that list.
Tamika, I got a question for you. I know there's a million people out there that got questions, but I do want to ask this question because a lot of people want to know this answer. And it's, I know we're going back, but I still want to stay a little current. What do you think about the playoff format? Do you think it should change, or do you not think it should change?
I think it needs to change. One of the things that you saw this year happen, like you fight all season long to have the opportunity to be able to rest, right? You get a certain number and you get to rest, get a game, the single game elimination. I know some people get excited about that, but I think that's what makes us different from the college game. The college game is single elimination. When you get to the pros, like it's more about series. Like you want to be able to see series. So that's just my opinion.
Mine is totally different. I can tell you, mine is totally different. I actually like it because you're right. Don't get me wrong. The people that say they want to see a series and they played well and they earned the number 1 and 2 spot, you got beat. You got beat in the series. You know what I'm saying? I think that excitement of having that single game elimination is what has catapulted the WNBA into the spotlight, because now people got to watch it and not say, oh, I'll watch the next game. No, you got to watch this game because your team will be gone. It's the first time in this series that 5 and 6 has made it to the finals, and number 6 won the whole thing. So that's why I'm actually going to hate it if the WNBA go to a series, because all the people that say they want to play a series, they had the series and they got beat.
Yeah. And I think you can look at it both ways. Yeah, I think you can look at it both ways, because I think if you're a team that has, like I said, sat at home and then, you get past the single elimination, you get a time to rest, and then you come out and, you could go one or two ways. Chicago got the momentum. Every game they won, you just saw them catching the momentum. Same thing for Phoenix. Every game they won, they just caught the momentum. And for some players, like for some teams that it's good to be able to have rest, and for other teams it's not. But I think when you look at just from a penalizing, why should you be penalized? In my opinion, sitting at home, when you could have, like, you should be able to have a couple of games. Trying to get. You look at.
You can't bring them in early and not have the bye. Like
I'm saying, just everybody play.
Don't have a double bye, but
everybody play.
Everybody play.
I do too.
Everybody play. So you got like the 1 verse 8, 2 verse 7.
Back to the way it was.
Yeah, I agree. No bye, because it's a 1 game elimination. Why? I think no bye will be good. Because
going back, I'm jumping around because this was a question that has come up a couple of times, so I did want to address. I know that this was hard. But you grew up with Kobe in Italy. Is that correct?
Yeah, just one year. Our fathers actually played together in Philly before we were born. Excuse me. And then after Dad got finished playing in the States, we moved over to Italy for a year. So the 1 year that we were over there, the Bryants were there as well. And our family, our parents made sure that we got together fairly often, because it's not a lot of African-American families just walking around in Italy. And it was important for us to be able to have some type of normalcy, even in a foreign country. And it's crazy. It's just, everybody's like, well, what was it like? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we were kids, like we played soccer because that's what it was in Italy. And we did basketball because our fathers played basketball. But I mean, we were normal kids. We'd go out and, like I was the tomboy that anything the boys could do, I could do better. And that was kind of my mentality. So I was always tagging along with the boys. I didn't want to do jump rope and dolls and all. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, me in the kitchen cooking and all that stuff. Hey, how good is Kelsey Mitchell? I know I'm jumping around, you guys, but I just want to know. I always love Kelsey. How good is Kelsey?
Kelsey has not even began to hit the tip of where she can be. I think she could be an amazing player in our league. And, you've watched her. I've had the opportunity to watch front and center the last 4 years, how she has continued to elevate her game every single year. One thing that I need to do a better job of is putting better players around her so that she doesn't have to do it every single night in and night out, and have some people to pass. I mean, that being on a championship team, you got to have players that, your stars could pass to, and that's what she needs. So I think individually she's been able to do a lot of great things. My job and what I want to see her win a championship and really be able to get the respect that she deserves.
Actually, there's one more. Since you're on that topic of players, here's a hard GM question. Do you think you made a mistake? Dang, Xavier went for the juggler. At 4 last season.
I don't. I think, trying to go back to what Penny said, you make decisions based on what you think you need and your needs are as a team. And, I think Kaiser, watching her at West Virginia, she's a scorer. She was able to play the two, step into the one when their point guard went out, able to do the versatility from that standpoint from her position. I think she, any player, you always watch players and you think about, hey, not every single great college player is going to be great in the pros and vice versa, right Penny? I mean,
I agree with you. And that's why I say, I say to you, because I know it's tough, you being such a great winner, you know what I'm saying? And then to have a team, that you got to build. Building is always tougher than inquiring of something that's great. Don't never be too hard on yourself, because I always said as a GM, and I'll say to you, the only thing you want to do as a GM, because the seat we sit in is a no-win seat. People gonna love you today, hate you tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
No matter what.
You just want to be able to look yourself in the face and be able to say, I did my best, and understand that. Guess what? We get things wrong. We get it wrong sometimes, and it's not even get it wrong. We have to adjust. You really only get it wrong if you're not open to adjusting and pivoting another way. That's what I would say. So don't step up about it, I'm
not. It's crazy because Michelle Vopel asked me a couple months ago just about this class in general, and she was just like, it's just like something to a negative connotation in a way of the class. And I said, it's hard to really look at this class and see where they fit amongst other classes. Think about it. The last couple of years they've been crazy for everybody. But think about a young lady that's looking at being any player that in the last couple of years that's looking at being a professional athlete. You got, for us, the Wubble year, right? So they think about a college. I can't even imagine as a college student not being able to go out with my friends, not being able to experience life. Like literally, you go to the gym, you can't go in the locker room, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're getting tested every day. That's the first year. Then summertime, you can't go and play with people. You're like basically trying to do art. So I told her, I said, look, you can't really judge this class. I think this off season is going to be really important for a lot of these young players. Go overseas, do something, come back, and then we'll be able to evaluate like how good this class was based on now having some type of normalcy year.
And it's not even fair, because what a lot of people is overlooking is it's 25 years for the WNBA. The WNBA, these players are damn good.
Yeah,
these are not scrubs they're going against. Yeah. And the people that see the league and playing it the year before, they go and get better like they're supposed to. And that's what's making it more and more difficult for players to come in as a rookie. It's just not going to happen because this league is just that good. And that's what I think people don't get, that these are some very, very talented women playing in the WNBA.
Of course.
Quick double question because we're getting close to our time, but we had a couple of questions on Candice Parker. How good is the short version of the question is how good is she in your opinion?
I think Candice is great. I think that we've watched her develop into being a great player. And not necessarily like obviously you look at the numbers this year, it's like, oh, she's not averaging the same numbers that she had, and she's not doing this, but she's grown her game up here.
Yeah.
And she's gotten smarter, and she vocally, like communication, and as a leader, she gotten better with this team. You listen to every single player from that Chicago Sky team talk about just the impact that she's had on them. Individually, it's all different, but the same. And I think that that's what she brought, along with you respect her because of what she has done on the court, on and off the court. So I think when you look at a player like her, definitely a Hall of Famer one day, I think that she elevated herself, I think she elevated herself from good to great.
Yeah, I want to throw in something real quick. I think to me, what I admire the most about Candice is how she dealt with adversity with the USA basketball thing, and she just rose to the occasion. She just rose above all of that and say, okay, I'm gonna flex my muscles and show you, watch me work. And to me, and not that she went out, was 40 points and 20 rebounds. She went out and made people around her better. To me, that is an MVP. That is a leader. So to me, that's what I admire about her is that she rose to the occasion. Her numbers maybe weren't the same, but the influence and the impact her presence made and people around her got better, to me. So I think, to me, I applaud her for that.
Another big.
I like how you said flex her muscles.
Oh, she always.
Yeah, I like how you said
always
that.
going to put the guns on.
Sometimes she wear like the tank top. Just everybody else certified unscripted. Wear our little shirts. Ruthie. She's coming in.
Somebody,
right.
Hey, listen. Somebody stole my shirt.
Okay.
I gave it to somebody.
You know what happened? She cut the sleeves off.
She did cut the sleeves off.
I
haven't seen that one since the time to cut. But this is a great question on the screen here too.
Right. So before we move on, because now you are a GM and you're up there, and these discussions are very important, right? So what's going on? There's a lot of talk about expansion. I think we're at 36 games. Will we ever go to 40? Any thoughts overall about as we bring in Rita Haywood as well?
Hey, everyone.
What are your thoughts, though, Tamika?
I think that we definitely need to expand. And that's something that I've been talking about the last couple of years. Like, we have too many great players out there and not enough opportunity for them to play. So, I think expansion is definitely on the horizon. I don't know when. I'm not in those conversations, but I know they're coming down the pipeline. And even thinking about game, we landed on 34 games. I think there is potential that we'll move up to 36. That is the plan, the direction that we're going to be supposed to be going in. So I know that's on the table as well.
Yeah. Rita, welcome in, everybody. Hey. This is our great producer. Any thoughts for Tamika as we get ready to wrap?
Well, I just want to say I love the fact that you're in the position you are now. And it's really amazing to kind of look at Penny because she looks like a proud mama bear, my little bear.
I always loved her.
Yeah, we all love you as a person. And it's not just about your basketball ability. It's really about just your character and the person that you've always been. So we just really genuinely have this admiration for you, this love for you. And I think it's like we're looking at you like, wow, we're just so proud of you, and you're going to be a great GM. You have someone to help guide you and give you some additional wisdom. And, Penny's going to be there for you, as well as all the players, Ruthie, all of us that have played the sport. So, I'm just really enamored by you and all you've accomplished and how you stay very leveled and very even keeled with everything you've done. So
always
congratulations. And, Penny,
tease me. Yep.
There you go.
Hey, do you sell coffee at your tea shop?
We do. We have one flavor of coffee and about 42 flavors of tea.
I'm actually a tea drinker, so I can get out with the tea.
Exactly. Come on. We'll sit down. We can really have some tea together.
Yeah. I'm sure I'd like to be a fly on the wall in that conversation, getting all the scoop. Yeah.
Come on, Penny.
And did you love keeping T as me because it just made sense because you're T?
Actually, that was it's called Tease Me, and that was the previous name from the previous
so you
owner,
kept
Wayne.
it.
Yeah, we kept it. Like, it's awesome.
All right, perfect. Well, we've had a lot of great questions. Thank you, everybody that's watching. Someone, Charles Farm, well, we got to give him a shout out here. I'm a new fan of the show, so you some love. Thanks, Charles. We appreciate it.
Charles.
We really appreciate you saying that.
Most
We've
definitely.
got people both on Facebook.
And we're not old, but I will say we are not old. Okay, former players will do. Not old.
And I do have one big question before we go. We always go over a little bit when we have somebody of your magnitude on. But here's the question I want to ask you. And I know we all face this because everybody asks me all the time, Penny, you think Diana would retire? You think Sue would retire?
Oh, yeah.
How did you know when it was time to retire? And do you think those players should retire or keep playing? But how did you know it was time's up for you?
I think everybody's on their own time, right? Mm-hmm. For me, it became, my dad always said, at some point in time, not if, but when. At some point in time, when your passion changed and when you feel like there's other things that you want to do and aspire, it's okay to walk away. And, for me, mine was actually 2 years. I announced my retirement in 2014 that I was going to retire. In 2016, Lord willing, if I made the Olympic team. But I knew, I used to wake up and want to go to the gym and want to work out. And, I'd leave one gym and take a shower, go to the next gym, take a shower, go to the next gym, and then do anything else. My passion was dang, I got to get up and go to the gym and go work out. And it became, I started pushing my workouts later in the day and doing other things first. And that's when I knew my mindset was shifting. I think for Sue and Diana, they'll figure it out. Diana just had baby number 2, her and Penny. Congrats on the baby during the playoff. Birdie's trying to figure it out. Her and Megan, they just got married and whatever next for them. So I think it's one of those things, both of them look like they could play. Sue for sure looks like she can continue playing. Diana, I know she had some aches and pains even during the playoff and through the final. But even for her, her mindset, both of their mindset are so driven that they'll make the best decision for themselves.
Right.
Well, any other thoughts, Rita?
No, I'm still glowing from the fact that I stalked you hard enough to get you on here. So
stalk me,
Yes. So we got some requests for some other guests, but we sure hope you'll come back.
We're getting everybody. We're getting everybody on here. Don't even worry about it.
You were awesome as always. Again, we've got questions flooding in from Facebook as well as from YouTube. We appreciate you all. Obviously, when you've got that many coming in from different places, can't get to all of them, but we got a bunch of them. Tamika, I'm serious. People always ask, and I always go, this is easy for me. I don't have to skate. My favorite player is you. And again, because you hit me here. You hit me here as a mama. So I appreciate all you did for my son. Appreciate all you did for all the young women that just look up to you, period. Wish you the best for what you're doing now as GM and president. Like you said, Penny's just like you just said, I'm taking all of it. How about that?
I'm the VP. I'm not the president.
VP. Oh, that's right. Let's get that
just in case she's watching, I don't want to take her shine.
I want to give you what you need right now. They're saying all that stuff. Now I'm going to give you something that you need from GM to GM. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that your ball come out number 1 because you guys have been in the lottery and unfortunately it'll go 3rd or 4th. Hey, you guys, I'm going on record. I'm going to pray for Indiana to get the number 1 pick this time.
Thank you.
You deserve it. So I want to give you what you want. I want to help you manifest that.
All right. Well,
I'm praying.
Right. We're praying for you. What an amazing job you've done as an entrepreneur, as a baller, as a coach, as a VP, as a GM, just as a role model across the board. We are so very, very happy we had a chance to have you on. Catch us next week. Remember, you can go to Certified Unscripted. Yes, I don't actually do the YouTube thing, but I will get the person. I saw your comment about label the shows, but also remember you can go to certifiedunscripted.com to see the shows if you need to. But yes, I will get someone to go to YouTube if they're not labeled correctly. Thank you for that tip. We got to ask for Rita. They're getting bossy now. You got to get
I know.
You got Woodard. Cheryl Miller. We still getting that. Teaspoon is not with us tonight because she was supposed to be the one responsible to make sure Cheryl Miller gets on the show.
Thank you.
But we see all of them. Keep the comments and the questions coming. We're going to get to them as soon as we can. And if we don't, it's Rita's fault. So just playing.
That busted just hit you.
Just playing, boss. Just playing. All right, we love you all. Thank you so much again. Tamika Catchings joined us on Certified Unscripted. When it comes to women's hoops, we're not new to this. We're true to this. We are certified unscripted.
Unscripted.
We'll see you next week. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.